You didn't find this video by accident, read this before sleeping tonight. I know you might think you did. A random scroll, a curious click, a moment of distraction before bed. But there are no accidents in this universe, beloved. Not when it comes to messages that find you exactly when your soul needs them most. Something brought you here tonight. And before you close your eyes and surrender to sleep, there's something you need to know. Something that's been waiting to reach you. A truth that's been traveling across time and space, through signs you almost noticed, through whispers you almost heard, through moments that felt strange and significant but you couldn't quite name why. Tonight you're going to understand. So settle in. Let your shoulders drop. Take a breath that reaches all the way down to the bottom of your lungs. Because for the next little while, this is a space just for you. A sanctuary. A moment outside of time where the noise of the world fades and something deeper can finally speak. You've been searching, haven't you? Maybe not consciously, maybe not with words, but your soul has been asking questions, sending out signals into the vastness, wondering if anyone out there truly sees you, wondering if all of this, the struggles, the pain, the confusion, means something. It does. And tonight you're going to remember why. Imagine for a moment a thread, not made of silk or cotton but of light, invisible to the eye but undeniably real. This thread has been woven into your life since the day you were born, connecting you to moments, to people, to experiences that seemed random but never were. That book that fell off the shelf at the exact moment you needed its wisdom. That stranger who said something that changed your perspective. That decision you made on impulse that redirected your entire path. That song that played when you were breaking and somehow put you back together. All of it. Connected. Woven. Intentional. You see, beloved, the universe doesn't move in straight lines. It doesn't operate on human schedules or logic. It works in spirals, in circles, in patterns that only make sense when you step back far enough to see the whole design. And you are part of a design so beautiful, so intricate, that even you can't fully comprehend it yet. But you're beginning to sense it, aren't you? That's why you're here. That's why something inside you said, wait, stop scrolling. This matters. Your intuition, that quiet knowing that lives beneath your thoughts, has been getting louder lately. Haven't you noticed? The way you suddenly think of someone and then they contact you. The way you avoid certain places or situations without knowing why, only to discover later that you escaped something difficult. The way certain numbers keep appearing, certain patterns keep repeating, as if reality itself is trying to get your attention. It is. The invisible thread that's been guiding you has been pulling tighter recently. Drawing you towards something, or perhaps drawing something toward you. Either way, the convergence is near. The moment when everything that's been building in the quiet, in the unseen, finally reveals itself in your physical reality. And you don't need to be afraid of it. I know fear has been your companion lately. It whispers to you in the early morning hours when sleep won't come. It sits beside you during the day, disguised as worry about the future, anxiety about decisions, doubt about whether you're on the right path. But that fear, it's not intuition. It's not guidance. It's the old parts of you, the wounded parts, the parts that remember pain and betrayal, trying to protect you the only way they know how, by keeping you small, by keeping you safe, by keeping you from risking your heart again. Those parts mean well. They love you, but they're operating from old information. They don't yet know what's coming. They don't yet understand that you're not the same person you were when those wounds were created. You've grown. You've healed in ways you don't even realize yet. You've become stronger, wiser, more capable, and the universe knows it. That's why new doors are beginning to open. That's why opportunities that once seemed impossible are starting to feel possible. That's why people from your past are resurfacing or falling away. That's why you're being called to release old habits, old beliefs, old versions of yourself that no longer fit. You're in a sacred transition. A liminal space. The threshold between who you were and who you're becoming, and I know how uncomfortable that is. The in-between is never easy. It's the caterpillar dissolving in the cocoon, no longer one thing but not yet the other. It's disorienting, it's vulnerable. It feels like loss even though it's transformation. But you're not dissolving into nothing, beloved. You're dissolving into everything, into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. Let me tell you about the signs, the ones that have been following you. The ones you've noticed but perhaps dismissed as coincidence or imagination. There's a village I want you to imagine, a small place nestled in mountains, where morning mist clings to the valleys and the first light of dawn touches the rooftops like a blessing. In this village, there's an ancient tradition. Every person when they're born is given a lantern. Not a physical one, though some families do craft beautiful lamps to symbolize it, but a spiritual one. A light that only they can carry, that illuminates a path only they can walk. For most of their lives, people don't think much about their lantern. They're busy with the day-to-day, working, loving, struggling, surviving. The lantern burns quietly in the background, unnoticed. But then something happens, a loss, an awakening, a moment when life cracks open and suddenly nothing looks the same. And in that moment of disorientation, they notice something. Their lantern is glowing brighter than ever before. And more than that, it's responding to other lights in the distance, flickering in rhythm with them, calling and being called. This is when they realize they were never meant to walk their path alone. The light they carry was always meant to connect with other lights, to illuminate not just their own way but to guide others, to be guided by others, to create a constellation of meaning in the darkness. You're in that moment right now, beloved. Your lantern is glowing. And it's responding to signals you're only beginning to understand. Those numbers you keep seeing, they're coordinates, timestamps, confirmation that you're exactly where you need to be in the grand design. Those dreams that feel more real than waking life. They're not fantasies. They're previews. Glimpses of timelines and possibilities that are aligning in the quantum field, waiting to collapse into your reality when you're ready to receive them. Those sudden urges to reach out to someone, to go somewhere, to do something that doesn't make logical sense. That's your lantern responding to another light. That's the invisible thread pulling you toward your next necessary encounter. Those moments of déjà vu, when reality feels thin and strange, like you've lived this before. You have. Not in this timeline, perhaps, but in the realm of soul memory. Your higher self has already walked this path and is leaving breadcrumbs for your human self to follow. And those moments of profound synchronicity, when the outer world mirrors your inner world so perfectly that it takes your breath away, that's the universe confirming, yes, you're on the path. Keep going, we see you, we're with you. But here's what you need to understand. These signs aren't just poetic metaphors. They're real. They're evidence of a reality that operates on frequencies most people have learned to ignore. A reality where consciousness and matter are in constant conversation. Where your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions actually shape what manifests in your life. You've been taught that you're powerless. That life happens to you, that you're a victim of circumstance, of fate, of other people's choices. But that's not true. It never was. You are a co-creator. Your awareness, your energy, your choices are constantly sculpting your reality. And lately, you've been changing. Your frequency has been rising. Your consciousness has been expanding. You've been asking different questions, holding different intentions, opening to different possibilities. And the universe has been listening. That's why things have been shifting. Why some relationships suddenly feel wrong while others feel like coming home. Why certain careers or paths that once seemed perfect now feel suffocating. Why you're being drawn to new interests, new knowledge, new ways of being in the world. You're not losing yourself. You're finding yourself. The real self. The one that exists beneath all the conditioning, all the expectations, all the identities you've worn to survive in a world that didn't know how to see you. And as you find that self, the external world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match your new frequency. This is spiritual law. As within, so without. As above, so below. The old must fall away to make room for the new, and I know how painful that is. Loss is loss, even when it's necessary. Even when it's making space for something better. So if you've been grieving lately, even if you can't name what you're grieving, know that this is holy work. You're mourning the old story, the one where you were small, where you were broken, where you were alone. That story served you once. It kept you safe when you needed safety, but it's not big enough for who you're becoming. It's time to let it go. Not violently, not with judgment, but gently, with gratitude for what it gave you and with courage to step into the new story that's being written even now. The story where you are powerful, where you are whole, where you are surrounded by love, by support, by grace that you didn't have to earn because it was always your birthright. Can you feel it, that shift in your chest? That's recognition. That's your soul saying, finally. Finally, someone is speaking truth. Finally, I'm being seen. You are seen, beloved, more deeply than you know. There's something else we need to talk about. Something you've been carrying in silence, thinking that if you just ignore it long enough, it will disappear. The loneliness. Not the kind that comes from being physically alone, though maybe you've experienced that too, but the deeper kind. The existential loneliness of feeling like no one truly understands you. Like you're speaking a language no one else speaks. Like you're homesick for a place you can't name. Oh, beloved, I know that ache. It's one of the most painful parts of the awakening process. When you begin to see reality differently, when your consciousness expands beyond the collective agreement about how life works, you can feel like an alien in your own life, surrounded by people but profoundly alone. Let me take you somewhere for a moment. Imagine a forest at twilight, the kind where ancient trees grow so tall that their canopy blocks out most of the sky, creating a cathedral of shadow and filtered light. The forest floor is soft with moss, and everything is quiet except for the occasional rustle of leaves, the distant call of an owl. In this forest, there are creatures that only come out at this hour. They're not comfortable in the bright light of day. They need the gentleness of dusk, the protective cover of shadows to feel safe enough to emerge. You've been one of these creatures, haven't you? Too sensitive for the harsh light of a world that values speed over depth, productivity over presence, image over authenticity. You've needed the quiet, the solitude, the space to feel your feelings without having to explain or justify them. And there's nothing wrong with that. Your sensitivity isn't weakness, it's a gift. It allows you to perceive things others miss, to feel the undercurrents of emotion in a room, to sense what's real and what's performance, to connect with beauty and meaning in ways that nourish your soul. But the gift comes with a cost, doesn't it? The cost of feeling too much, of being overwhelmed by the pain of the world, of absorbing other people's emotions like a sponge and not knowing which feelings are yours and which belong to someone else. The cost of isolation, because when you tried to share what you were experiencing, people looked at you like you were strange, dramatic, too intense, too much. So you learned to hide, to keep the depths of yourself locked away where no one could mock them or misunderstand them. You learned to wear a mask that was acceptable, that was palatable, that allowed you to move through the world without drawing too much attention. And that mask worked. It kept you safe, but it also kept you lonely. Because, beloved, you can't be truly seen if you're hiding, and you can't be truly loved if people only know the mask. But here's what's happening now. You're tired of hiding. The mask is getting heavy. You're starting to wonder if maybe, just maybe, there are other people out there who speak your language, who understand your depth, who won't run when they see the real you. And you're right. There are. They're finding you even now. Not all at once. The universe is gentler than that. But one by one, soul by soul, you're being connected with your true family. The ones who recognize the light in your eyes because they carry the same light. The ones who don't flinch at your intensity because they're intense too. The ones who say, yes, I feel that too. I thought I was the only one. This is part of the design, beloved. You were never meant to do this alone. The human journey is a collective one, even for those of us who need solitude to recharge. We're designed for connection, for belonging, for tribe. And your tribe is gathering. Some are already in your life, but you haven't recognized them yet because you're still wearing the mask. Some are on their way to you, being guided by the same invisible threads that guided you to this moment. Some are waiting for you to step more fully into your truth so they can find you, but they won't find the mask. They'll find you, the real you, the one who's weird and deep and sensitive and powerful in ways the world doesn't yet have words for. So here's your invitation: start taking the mask off. Not everywhere, not all at once, but in safe spaces, with safe people. Even just with yourself in the privacy of your own heart. Start speaking your truth even if your voice shakes. Start sharing your experiences even if you're afraid of judgment. Start showing up as you really are even if it feels vulnerable and terrifying. Because on the other side of that vulnerability is the connection you've been craving your whole life. The belonging, the home you've been homesick for. And let me tell you something that might surprise you. You're not as alone as you think you are right now. Even in this moment, there are people thinking of you with love, praying for you, sending you good energy. You just can't feel it yet because you've built walls so high that even love has trouble getting through. But those walls are crumbling, not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough now to live without them, strong enough to risk your heart again, strong enough to believe that maybe this time it will be different. And it will be, because you're different. You've learned, you've grown. You've developed discernment about who deserves access to your inner world and who doesn't. You're no longer giving your pearls to those who can't see their value. You're becoming sovereign, learning to protect your energy while still remaining open, learning to say no to what diminishes you and yes to what expands you, learning that true strength isn't about never feeling pain. It's about feeling it fully and choosing to remain open anyway. This is mastery, beloved. This is what the journey has been preparing you for. Now let's talk about the future. The one you barely let yourself imagine because hoping feels dangerous when you've been disappointed before. I want you to picture a lake at dawn. The water is perfectly still, like glass, reflecting the sky so perfectly that you can't tell where the water ends and the heavens begin. The air is cool and fresh, and the world is holding its breath in that moment before the sun breaks the horizon. You're standing at the edge of this lake. Behind you is the path you've walked, rocky in places, steep in others, winding through darkness and light. You can see your footprints in the soft earth, evidence of how far you've come. But in front of you, the path disappears into morning mist. You can't see what's ahead, and that uncertainty makes your heart race with equal parts excitement and fear. The fear says, what if I choose wrong? What if I'm not capable? What if I work so hard and it still doesn't work out? What if I open my heart again and it gets broken? What if I'm not meant for the beautiful life I keep dreaming about? These fears are loud. They've been your companions for so long that they feel like truth. They've kept you from taking risks, from reaching for what you truly want, from believing that you deserve extraordinary things. But beloved, these fears are lying to you. Not because bad things never happen. They do. Not because you won't face challenges. You will. But because the story those fears are telling you is based on old data. They're trying to predict your future based on your past, and that's not how transformation works. You are not the same person you were 5 years ago, even 1 year ago, even 6 months ago. You've been changing, healing, growing in ways that you can't fully see yet because you're inside the process. And the future that's unfolding for you isn't a repeat of your past. It's a reflection of who you're becoming right now, today, in this moment. So what are you becoming? Someone who values yourself enough to set boundaries. Someone who trusts your intuition even when it doesn't make logical sense. Someone who's learning to distinguish between fear-based thinking and genuine guidance. Someone who's willing to be uncomfortable in service of your growth. Someone who's ready for the next level. And that next level, it's not just a little bit better than where you are now. It's quantum. It's a leap. It's the kind of transformation that will make you look back at this moment and barely recognize the person who was afraid to hope. I know you've been through dark times, times when you wondered if the pain would ever end, times when you couldn't see any light at the end of the tunnel, times when you questioned whether you had the strength to keep going. But you did keep going. You're here. You survived every single day that you thought would break you. And that survival wasn't just endurance, it was alchemy. You took pain and transformed it into wisdom. You took loss and transformed it into compassion. You took brokenness and transformed it into strength. And now, all of that wisdom, all of that compassion, all of that strength is about to pay dividends in ways you can't yet imagine. The job you've been hoping for, it's coming, or something better than what you imagined is coming. The relationship you've been praying for, it's being prepared. Both you and that person are being shaped and readied so that when you meet, it will be at the right time and the right way, with both of you whole enough to build something real. The healing you've been seeking, it's already happening. In your cells, in your energy field, in the way your neural pathways are rewiring themselves to hold new beliefs. You're not broken, you're reorganizing. The purpose you've been searching for, it's closer than you think. All the experiences you've had, even the painful ones, especially the painful ones, have been training you for work that only you can do, for a contribution that only you can make. You just have to hold on a little longer. Keep walking through the mist. Keep trusting that the path is there even when you can't see it. Keep believing that you're being guided even when you feel lost. Because, beloved, you're not lost. You're exactly where you need to be. And everything is working in your favor even when it doesn't feel like it. That door that closed, it was protecting you from something that would have kept you small. That person who left, they were clearing space for someone who can match you at your new frequency. That opportunity that fell through, it was redirecting you towards something better aligned with your purpose. The universe isn't punishing you, it's positioning you. And soon, so much sooner than you realize, you're going to see why it all had to happen exactly the way it did. You're going to see the pattern, the perfection, the love that was orchestrating every detail even when it felt like chaos. You're going to see that you were never alone, never forgotten, never abandoned. You were always held, always seen, always loved beyond measure. And that future you're afraid to hope for, it's not too good to be true. It's exactly true enough for who you're becoming. Let yourself hope. Let yourself dream. Let yourself imagine a life that's not just bearable but beautiful. Not just okay but extraordinary. Not just surviving but thriving. Because that life, it's already yours. You just have to be brave enough to walk toward it. There's something else. Something important that you need to hear before you close your eyes tonight. You've been waiting for permission, for someone to tell you that it's okay to want what you want, to feel what you feel, to be who you really are. And I know where that comes from. You've spent so much of your life being told, explicitly or implicitly, that you were too much or not enough, too sensitive or too cold, too ambitious or too lazy, too loud or too quiet. You learned to second-guess yourself, to ask others for validation before trusting your own knowing, to make yourself smaller so others could feel bigger, to dim your light so others wouldn't feel threatened by your shine. And you've been waiting, perhaps your whole life, for someone to look you in the eyes and say, you don't have to do that anymore. You're allowed to be yourself, fully, unapologetically, without justification or explanation. So let me be that person for you tonight. Beloved, you have permission. Permission to rest when you're tired instead of pushing through exhaustion to prove your worth. Permission to say no to things that drain your energy, even if saying no disappoints people. Permission to walk away from relationships that no longer serve you, even if you have history with those people. Permission to change your mind, to choose differently, to want different things than you wanted 5 years ago. Permission to take up space, to speak your truth, to have needs and ask for them to be met, permission to be messy and imperfect and still in process, to not have everything figured out, to be learning as you go, permission to prioritize your own well-being without guilt, to put your own oxygen mask on first, to fill your own cup before pouring into others, permission to feel your feelings without judging them as good or bad, to be angry when you're angry, to grieve when you're grieving, to feel joy without waiting for the other shoe to drop, permission to dream big, to want extraordinary things, to believe that you deserve abundance in all its forms, love, money, health, joy, purpose, peace. Permission to release the old stories about who you're supposed to be and discover who you actually are beneath all the conditioning. Permission to be spiritual without being perfect, to have wisdom and still make mistakes, to be on a path of growth and still have bad days. Permission to let go of people's opinions of you, to stop performing for an audience that isn't even paying attention, to live for your own approval rather than everyone else's. Permission to believe that you are worthy. Not because of what you've accomplished or how well you serve others or how much you sacrifice, but simply because you exist. Your worthiness is inherent. It can't be earned and it can't be taken away. Permission to trust yourself, to trust your intuition, to trust that you know what's right for you even when others disagree. Permission to be a work in progress, to be constantly evolving, to be different tomorrow than you are today. And perhaps most importantly, permission to be happy, to enjoy your life, to find pleasure in simple things, to laugh without feeling guilty, to experience lightness after so much heavy. You don't need to earn these permissions, beloved. They're already yours. They've always been yours. You just forgot. Or maybe no one ever told you in the first place, but I'm telling you now, and I need you to really hear it. Let it sink in past the walls, past the defenses, all the way down into that part of you that's been waiting to be set free. You are allowed. You are allowed. You are allowed. There's a village elder in that mountain village I told you about earlier. She's old, ancient, really, with eyes that have seen generations come and go. Every evening she sits outside her small stone cottage and tends a fire. And people come to her with their burdens, their questions, their confusion. She doesn't give advice, this elder. She doesn't tell people what to do. Instead, she listens, really listens. And when they're done speaking, when they've poured out all their pain and fear and doubt, she looks at them with those ancient eyes and says simply, "You already know." And somehow those 3 words are enough, because they're true. Deep down, beneath the noise and the conditioning and the fear, each person already knows what they need. They already know what their truth is. They just needed someone to believe in their knowing, to give them permission to trust themselves. That's what I'm doing for you right now. I'm telling you, you already know. You know what needs to change. You know what you need to release. You know what direction you need to move in. You know who you're meant to become. You've just been afraid to trust it. Afraid to act on it, afraid that maybe you're wrong, maybe you're foolish, maybe you'll regret it. But beloved, the only thing you'll regret is not honoring what you know to be true. The only thing you'll look back on with sadness is the times you betrayed yourself to make others comfortable. The times you said yes when everything in you was screaming no. The times you stayed small when your soul was begging to expand. So tonight, before you sleep, I want you to make a promise to yourself, a sacred commitment. Promise that you will start honoring your knowing, that you will start trusting your intuition, that you will start living in alignment with your truth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's scary, even when you can't see the full path ahead. Promise that you will stop waiting for permission from people who don't understand your journey, that you will stop seeking validation from those who can't see your value, that you will stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. Promise that you will be brave, not fearless. Bravery isn't the absence of fear, but brave enough to move forward even with the fear. Brave enough to choose yourself. Brave enough to bet on your own potential. And promise that you will be gentle with yourself through this process. that you won't judge yourself for the times you fall back into old patterns, that you'll treat yourself with the same compassion you'd offer a beloved friend who's learning something difficult. This is your life, beloved, your one precious, irreplaceable life, and it's waiting for you to claim it, not someday, not when you're ready. Now, today, this moment, because you are ready, you've always been ready. You just needed someone to remind you. Consider this your reminder, your wake-up call, your invitation to step into the fullness of who you were created to be. The universe is watching. Your soul is watching, and they're both holding their breath, waiting to see what you'll choose. Choose yourself, beloved. Choose your truth. Choose your joy. Choose your freedom. And watch what happens when you do. Now, as the night deepens and sleep begins to call to you, there's one more thing I need to share. A message specifically for tonight, for this moment, for the threshold between waking and dreaming. In that mountain village, there's another tradition. Before sleep, people stand at their windows or their doorsteps and release the day. They don't just review it in their minds, they actually release it. Let it go. Give it back to the earth, to the sky, to the vast universe that holds all things. They release the moments they're proud of and the moments they regret. The things they accomplished and the things they didn't. The kindnesses they received and the hurts they endured. They release it all, trusting that the night will compost it, transform it, and return it as wisdom by morning. And then in that space of emptiness and that clean slate, they invite in the dreams. Not the dreams they think they should have or the dreams that would impress others, but the dreams their soul whispers when the noise quiets down. The dreams that feel too big, too beautiful, too impossible to speak out loud. They invite those dreams in. Give them space. Give them breath. Give them permission to take root in the rich soil of sleep, where the subconscious does its deepest work. And in the morning, something has shifted. They can't always name it, but they feel lighter, clearer, more aligned. This is what I'm inviting you to do tonight. Before you close your eyes, take a moment to release this day. Everything you're carrying from it, the stress, the disappointments, the worries about tomorrow, the tension in your shoulders, the thoughts that have been circling in your mind like birds that won't land. Release them, not by forcing them away, but by acknowledging them and then gently, consciously letting them go. Place your hand on your heart. Feel it beating, that steady rhythm that's been with you since before you were born. Let that rhythm remind you that you're alive. You're here, and being here is enough. Say quietly to yourself, I release what I cannot change. I release what is not mine to carry. I release who I'm no longer meant to be. And feel it happening. Feel the weight lifting, the space opening, the breath deepening. Now in that space, invite in what you truly want. Not from ego, not from fear, but from that deep, true place. That place that knows what would make your soul sing, what would make you feel alive and purposeful and connected. Maybe it's love, real love, the kind that sees you and celebrates you and feels like home. Maybe it's work that matters, that uses your gifts, that makes you excited to wake up in the morning. Maybe it's healing of your body, your heart, your relationship with yourself. Maybe it's peace, real peace, the kind that doesn't depend on circumstances, the kind that comes from knowing, deeply knowing that you're exactly where you need to be. Maybe it's creative expression, the courage to make the art, write the words, sing the songs that live inside you. Maybe it's community, your people, your tribe, the ones who get you without explanation. Maybe it's freedom. From old patterns, old beliefs, old identities that have kept you trapped. Or maybe it's all of these. Maybe you're ready for your whole life to transform. Whatever it is, invite it in tonight. Not as a desperate plea, but as a calm, confident knowing. Not from a place of lack, but from a place of receptivity. Say quietly, I am ready, I am open, I am willing to receive. And then trust. Trust that the universe heard you. Trust that your angels heard you. Trust that your own higher self heard you. And trust that the answer is already on its way, taking form in the invisible realms, preparing to manifest in perfect timing. You don't have to know how it will happen. You don't have to figure out the steps. You don't have to force or control or manipulate circumstances. You just have to stay open, stay aligned, stay in your truth, and let life bring it to you in ways that will surprise and delight you. Because, beloved, you're not meant to struggle for everything. You're not meant to earn every good thing through pain and sacrifice. That's old programming, old belief. The new paradigm, the one you're entering, understands that life can be easy, that blessings can flow, that you can be supported by invisible forces that love you beyond comprehension. You just have to learn to receive, to allow, to trust that you're worthy of good things even when you haven't done enough to deserve them. Your existence is enough. Your willingness is enough. Your open heart is enough. And tonight, as you drift into sleep, you're going to be held in that knowing. The universe is going to wrap around you like the warmest blanket. Your angels are going to stand guard around your bed, protecting you, blessing you, whispering encouragement into your dreams. You are not alone in the dark. You have never been alone in the dark. And when you wake tomorrow, something will be different, maybe just slightly, maybe subtly, but you'll feel it, a lightness, a clarity, a quiet confidence that wasn't there before, because tonight you received what you needed. You heard what your soul has been trying to tell you. You remembered who you really are beneath all the fear and the conditioning. You remembered that you are powerful, that you are loved, that you are exactly where you need to be, even if it doesn't look like you thought it would. You remembered that your story isn't over, that the best chapters are still being written, that everything you've been through has been preparation for what's coming next. And what's coming next, it's more beautiful than you've let yourself imagine. So sleep now, beloved. Sleep deeply. Sleep peacefully. Let your dreams be gentle and restorative. Let your body do its healing work. Let your spirit travel to the higher realms where wisdom and clarity await. And know, truly know, that you are held, you are guided, and you are cherished beyond measure. Before I let you go, I want to leave you with one final thought, one final image to carry with you into sleep. Imagine yourself standing in a field at sunset. The grass is golden, swaying gently in the breeze. The sky is painted in shades of amber and rose and deep purple, and you're not alone. Surrounding you, though you can't see them with your physical eyes, are all the beings who love you. Your ancestors, your angels, your guides, your future self who has already walked this path and knows how beautifully it unfolds. They're standing in a circle around you and they're smiling, not because you've done everything right, not because you've achieved all your goals, but simply because you're you, because you exist. Because you're here trying, learning, growing, doing the best you can with what you have. And in this moment, they want you to know you are doing so much better than you think you are. You are so much stronger than you realize. You are so much closer to breakthrough than you can see. Don't give up now, not when you're this close, not when everything has been conspiring to bring you to this moment of transformation. You found this message for a reason, not to scare you, not to pressure you, but to remind you, to encourage you, to give you the strength to take one more step, to hold on one more day, to believe one more time, because your breakthrough is coming. Your miracle is on its way. Your answered prayers are manifesting even now. You just have to trust a little longer, believe a little deeper. Hold on a little tighter to the knowing that you are loved, you are supported, and you are never, ever alone. So rest now. Let go. Surrender to sleep. And know that when you wake, the universe will still be conspiring in your favor. Your angels will still be walking beside you, and the path will still be there leading you home to yourself. You didn't find this video by accident. You were meant to hear these words tonight. And everything is going to be okay. Sweet dreams, beloved, sweet dreams.